Hello YouTube, my name is Joel Sunhill, and this is my top 10 most disturbing Courage the Cowardly Dog episodes. But before we start with the top 10, I have a list. There's an episode on my list that is not really an episode, but a creepypasta I read on YouTube. Now when that's out of the way, let's begin. Number 10, Freaky Fred. In this episode, the bag gets visited by Muriel's nephew named Fred, who is a barber and loves hair. But he's not an ordinary barber. He comes from an asylum. In the episode, he actually shaves off all of Courage's hair. But in the end, the cops takes him away back to the asylum. And in the end, you actually see the only thing that was not shaved off was Courage's tail. And I didn't see Fred to be scary, but I didn't see Courage to be scary. Actually, more funny to me as a kid. Although there were some few scary scenes, he did not scare me. Number 10, The Revenge of the Chicken from Outer Space. For those who do not know, there was a pilot episode called The Chicken from Outer Space, starring Courage the Cowardly Dog. For those who do not know, Courage battles an alien chicken. The alien chicken, which we will call Boba Fett, because he has no name, and why not? Anyway, when Boba Fett came to alien Earth to enslave the human race, he actually had planned the eggs for us to eat to become giant chicken. But I'm not talking about the pilot. I'm talking about its sequel, The Revenge. In this episode, the chicken is back and wants Courage's head. And his plan is this: he wants to take Courage's head, and if Courage does not agree on Boba Fett's turn, the alien chicken, who I still call Boba, is going to take Muriel's head instead. But in most episodes, these two, Courage and Muriel, gets away fine. And they get out fine. But unfortunately for Eustace, the chicken, I would still call Boba Fett. That's one of my characters from Star Wars. Anyway, when Boba uses his head, he looks scary. And in the end, what you may, you may be wondering what happened to Courage's body. Well, this happened when the headless Eustace, his body goes, Muriel give slipper. You actually see this big scream from Courage. Now, I found this episode to be a little bit scary, but it has the best alien theme I ever heard. Number 8, The Tower of Dr. Silos. In this episode, a mad scientist by the name of Silos is very sad, and he wants to turn everyone sad. But Courage actually, and so Muriel gets infected. But Courage tries to stop Silos and cure everybody. Now, I didn't find this show to be this scary, but very sad. And Dr. Silos, well, I found him as a James Bond villain, Now, where were I? Number 7, Cabaret Courage. In this episode, the bags goes to Hollywood, falls to a giant hole that leads to a big club where they see a giant heart-looking thing and it wants them to perform for him. But both uses a Muriel suck and falls to a pit to die. But in the end, Blob knows that Courage do not want money, but only his family, and the thing turns back to a guy. I find this scary and gross. Hell, the Necromorphs from Dead Space. I find the Necromorphs from Dead Space to be better. Number 6. The Mask. In this episode, a masked figure named Kitty goes to the Bags farm and hates dogs. She tells the Bags that her friend Bunny fell in love with a dog gangster, and Courage goes to save her. I find the episode scary in many ways, but the reason why it's on number 6 in my top 10 list is because of the racism. Because Kitty hates dogs. It is because of racism. There's a lot of racism and prostitution in this episode, which deserves me on number 6. Number 5. Perfect. In this episode, Courage fails everything, so in his mind, he creates this teacher who tries to teach me perfect. Now the teacher looks nothing scary, and she actually and she dies when she melts, similar to the witch of Wizard of Oz, if you've seen it. But the real scary thing about this episode was that one scene with the blue CGI mummy baby, I don't know, the CGI fetus, I don't know what the hell it was, but it was really scary. That could have given us anything nightmares. Moving on. Number 4. Courage in the Big Stinking City. In this episode, the Bags goes to New York for Muriel's play, but the giant cockroach named Frick offers to let them stay in his place till the show. And yeah, this rehearsal room is so scary that there is bones everywhere, where the word help on the window. And Shriek actually explains to Courage why there are bones everywhere. It was because of this weird thing. In the end, it eats Eustace. I mean, you didn't even know what the hell it was. It may be a giant spider or a werewolf or something. I don't know. But the real scary reason why it's on this list is that goddamn violent girl. I mean, I thought there was a little girl who played the violin, but when she turned around, she gave me a jump scare so loud. Oh my god, it was so scary for me as a kid. I still watch the show even knowing about this episode. I mean, she was so scary, even with claymation. Ugh, that may have given everyone nightmares. I mean, I couldn't see this episode for years. Let's just move on. Number 3, Night of the Werewolf. In this episode, Muriel is bitten by a werewolf-like mole, and Muriel turns to a werewolf. And the only way for Courage to turn Muriel back is a small piece of hair from the werewolf. Eustace, however, thinks that Muriel is a mouse and wants to kill her. Now, this may in the end, Muriel gets fine. Now, I was afraid of one scene where the werewolf came up and bit Muriel, but I got over it. But it was scary, I assure you. It was scary. Now, number 2. We have number 2. Now, before I unveil on the number 2 spot, I must tell you that this is not an episode. It is actually a creepypasta. It was not a Courage episode. Massacre Matt. In this episode, this is a narrator. It all started when a narrator saying he was looking for a video in store, looking for an old VCR video called Aladdin. But he finds this video of Courage the Cowardly Dog Lost episode, and then buys and forgets about the Aladdin video. Anyway, when he watched it, he actually see this big CGI Jason Voorhees guy named Massacre Matt, and this is actually scary. I mean, in his talk, he saw that. The narrator said it is so scarring that Courage dies in this episode. Now, I'm not going to tell you that this episode, the narrator said that this last episode was gory. I mean, gory as hell. I don't think I want to talk about this episode, but this is a creepypasta. It's not really an episode, but I really want it on my list, okay? But there was one episode I thought to be scary. Now what could it be? Let's find out, shall we? And the number one most disturbing Courage the Cowardly Dog episode is King Ramses' Curse. This is the episode we all know. In this episode, an ancient slab is stolen from the tomb of King Ramses, and it leads to the Bag's farm. Now, King Ramses, he was scary. He was goddamn scary. I was so scared that CGI mummy thing. Plus, this had a dark atmosphere. I was so afraid I couldn't even sleep. I couldn't fall for sleep. I was so afraid. And there was all this loud music I didn't understand. It sounded like an old jazz 50s song thing with Tom Jones, I think. But it was King Ramses was the scariest Courage the Cowardly Dog episode and character I ever saw. I mean, I was so afraid I had to hide in my own room. And I could see this episode for years. Trust me, guys, I couldn't see this episode for goddamn years. But I get over it. Now I'm actually seeing these episodes. I am seeing these episodes. But King Ramses is the number one most disturbing Courage the Cowardly Dog episode. Now, if you really like, well, so I don't know how much to say, but I hope you like my top 10 scariest Courage Cowardly Dog episodes. And if you like it, then visit me on my channel on YouTube. Until then, may the force be with you, and goodbye.